The first time I saw Margaret's broken gate, it wasn't the rusted hinges or the creaking wood that caught my attention. It was the way she stood beside it, staring as if the world had slipped through that crooked opening and never returned. I had just come home from another long shift at the auto workshop, grease under my nails and exhaustion on my face, when she called out softly, "Ethan, could you help me with this old gate? It won't close anymore." Her voice carried both weariness and warmth, and something in it made me pause. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of helping others when no one's watching, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Chronicles. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts that still believe in good people. I lived alone in a small rented apartment across from Margaret's house. She was in her late 60s, a retired school teacher who had lived in that quiet neighborhood her entire life. People said she used to be the kind of woman who hosted garden parties and baked pies for everyone, but the sparkle in her life dimmed after her husband passed away 5 years ago. I'd seen her several times, tending her flowers alone or feeding the stray cat that visited her porch every morning. There was always a certain loneliness in her eyes, a soft, haunting kind that never fully went away. When she asked me to fix her gate, I didn't think much of it. I was used to fixing things, cars, bikes, sometimes even my own heart, after life had knocked it down too many times. My father left when I was a kid, my mother passed when I was 18, and since then I'd learned to survive by keeping my head down and my hands busy. Still, something about Margaret's fragile smile made me want to help her. The gate was old, the hinges eaten by rust, and the latch bent out of shape. It was a small task, but as I worked, Margaret stood nearby, holding a pitcher of lemonade. "You remind me of my son," she said softly. "He used to fix things around here before he moved away." I smiled politely, tightening the screws and straightening the latch. "Where does he live now?" I asked. Her eyes dimmed. "I don't know," she whispered. "He stopped calling a long time ago." The words lingered in the air like a cold wind. I didn't press further. When I was done, I gave the gate a gentle push. It swung perfectly, closing with a satisfying click. "All fixed," I said. She smiled, but her eyes glistened. "You're a good man, Ethan," she said. "Wait here." She disappeared inside her house and returned a few moments later with a small paper envelope. She handed it to me and said, "You deserve a little extra reward." I tried to refuse, but she insisted. "Please, take it. It's not much, but you've done more for me than you realize." I thanked her, pocketed the envelope, and left. Later that night I opened it, and to my surprise there wasn't money inside but a photograph. It was a faded picture of a young man, probably in his 20s, standing in front of the same gate I had just fixed. On the back, in shaky handwriting, were the words, "Come back home someday." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Margaret, the loneliness in her voice, and why she'd given me that photo instead of money. Maybe she thought I looked like her son. Maybe she just needed someone to remember him. The next morning, as I headed to work, I saw her again, sitting on her porch with the cat. She waved, and I waved back. Over the next few weeks, I started checking in on her more often. Sometimes I'd help her carry groceries, mow her lawn, or fix a leaky pipe. She'd always thank me with tea and biscuits, and sometimes she'd tell me stories about her life, how she met her husband in college, how her son used to draw cartoons on the walls, how she once dreamed of traveling to Italy but never got the chance. Listening to her made me realize how many stories in this world go unheard, how many hearts quietly ache behind closed doors. "Dear Ethan," it read, "thank you for fixing more than my gate. You fixed a broken part of my heart. I watched you work so hard living alone expecting nothing in return, and I wanted to do something for you. Inside my old chest you'll find the deed to my house. I want you to have it, not as payment but as gratitude. You gave me company when the world had forgotten me. You deserve a home, a place to belong." Tears blurred my vision. I didn't know what to say, what to feel. When I went to her house later, I found the chest in her living room, just as she had described. Inside it was the deed, a few old photographs, and a note that simply said, Home is not a place. It's the people who make you feel seen. Months passed, and I moved into that house. I fixed it up little by little, just as I'd fixed her gate that first day. I kept her flowers blooming, the cat well fed, and her photograph on the mantel. Every morning I'd open the gate and let the sunlight in, as if she were still there, smiling softly from her porch. Sometimes the neighborhood kids would stop by, curious about the old house and the man who lived there. I'd tell them stories about Margaret, the teacher who believed in kindness, the woman who gave her heart to a lonely mechanic and changed his life forever. And on quiet afternoons, when the wind rustled through the garden and the gate creaked gently, I could almost hear her voice saying, "You deserve a little extra reward." Only now I understood what she truly meant. The real reward wasn't money or even the house. It was knowing that kindness, even the smallest kind, never goes unnoticed. It heals, it connects, and sometimes it saves. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Chronicles. Every interaction helps spread love, empathy, and faith in humanity, because the world needs more people who fix not just gates, but hearts too. Special request, comment below and tell us, have you ever helped someone in a small way that unexpectedly changed your life? Your story might inspire someone else to do the same. And as I sit every evening by that same gate, watching the sunlight fade over the garden Margaret once loved, I realize sometimes the most ordinary moments become the ones that change everything. All it takes is a kind heart, a rusty gate, and the courage to care.